It's time for Windows Weekly with Paul Thurrott, episode 183. Coming up, we're going to talk about IE9, Office 365, and the return of the kin. Windows Weekly is next.
Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT. Bandwidth for Windows Weekly is provided by Cachefly at CACHEFLY.com. This is Windows Weekly with Paul Thurrott, episode 183, recorded November 18th, 2010, the Will Wheaton of podcasts. Windows Weekly is brought to you by Audible.com. To download the free audiobook of your choice, go to audible.com/windows. And by Ford and the new 2011 Ford Fiesta with an EPA estimated 40 highway miles per gallon. No other compact car is more fuel efficient. Drive one this week at a dealer near you. And by Squarespace.com, the fast and easy way to publish a high-quality website or blog. For a free trial and 10% off the lifetime of your new account, go to squarespace.com/windows and use the offer code WINDOWS. Time for Windows Weekly. We are going to gather together every week. This is our charter. Every week we're going to gather together and chew like a cow with its cud the latest news from Redmond, Washington, and the folks at Microsoft. And there's no better cud chewer in the business than Mr. Paul Thurrott, editor-in-chief of the SuperSite for Windows at winsupersite.com. He is the news editor for Windows IT Pro and Penton Media. And, of course, best of all, the author of a fabulous series of books called Windows Secrets. And in this case, it's Windows Phone. Windows Phone Secrets. I'm sorry, that's really not a felicitous way to put it, is it? Hello, Paul Thurrott.
Is that accurate enough?
Windows Secrets.
That's me.
Yeah.
I'm that sound in the middle. That flatulent sound. That's my contribution.
Sorry. I apologize. So how's the Black Ops going?
Oh, it's going great. It's done in many ways.
Really?
I mean,
are you 50?
Yeah.
What is not 50?
Well, no.
15.
So I finished single player finally. That actually took about a week.
Yeah.
On veteran.
Yeah.
It was hard. And I also prestiged for the first time. That only took like 8 fucking hits. It's actually, you're gonna have to look those up. It's a different sound.
It's new sounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the old Modern Warfare stuff. There
is a lot going on in that game, I have to say, and I'm pretty impressed by it, including some secrets around there's a Zork game built into it. There's a co-op. Well, actually, there's a co-op. An arcade game, zombie arcade game that's built in there.
Ooh, fun.
That's a secret. There's a.
Oh, how do you get there? Are you going to tell us?
Yeah, in the opening screen where you choose between campaign and multiplayer and zombies, which is a game mode. It's interactive. You can actually look around, and if you look down, you can see you're strapped into the chair like you're being interrogated, which is part of the plot of the single-player campaign. And you just move the controls around to get your arms free, and then you can walk around the room. And there's a computer in the back, and you can get in front of it and type commands, Unix commands into it.
Oh, that's hysterical! I love that.
Yeah, so you can play Zork.
So get out of the chair and then type. If you type Zork, does Zork run?
Yeah, Zork runs the whole game.
I love it.
Yeah, and you can also
because Zork, the entire game is less than one texture, one texture map for
it's probably just the teeniest little thing, and then but there's a full game in there too. You can type in DOA, which is Dead Ops Arcade, and it's this top-down arcade style game, which is actually pretty fantastic, and that's pretty fun.
I love.
There's also a nice thing, and I think we're far enough along into the. When it's come out a week ago or whatever, that this isn't giving anything away. I mean, there's stuff online about this, but at the end of the game, if you go through the credits, they have kind of a cute tie-in between the single-player campaign, which takes place largely during the Vietnam War and the Cold War. It has some flashback stuff to Nazi Germany and all that. It flashes to a room where JFK and Robert McNamara and Fidel Castro and Richard Nixon, for some reason, are in the bottom of the Pentagon, and it's being broken in by zombies. So JFK hits a switch in the wall, throws weapons around, and they go off and they go after the zombies. And it's a funny tie-in because in the previous games, in Modern Warfare, in Call of Duty World at War, the previous game by Treyarch, they had the zombie game mode. and it didn't really make any sense, right? It's like this sort of this separate game where you go kill the zombies. And then so in this scene, what they've done is they've sort of established a link between the single player campaign and the zombie game. So when you're playing in the zombie game 4-player, those are the 4 players. It's like JFK, Robert McNamara, Richard Nixon, Fidel Castro.
Well,
it's crazy.
I think people don't remember, but this was, I think, one of the campaign slogans from the 1960 presidency. JFK, the man in charge for the next zombie apocalypse. And I think that was, they chose not to use that.
They took it a little literally, but
The man, Nixon's the one if there's a zombie apocalypse. Was, I think, the full slogan. And then they I never liked Nixon's the one. It's like, what is that? This is supposed to be rhyme?
There's actually a funny scene where Nixon kind of gets twitchy and he says, "I think someone's trying to break in." And JFK says, "Don't like, calm down,
Watergate, Dick."
Yeah. And then someone is in fact trying to break in, and it's
I think someone is trying to break in
on the phone.
It's amazing.
Oh,
don't worry about that. It's amazing that the developers have time.
I know.
Given all the work it must be to do something like Black Ops and the time pressure to get it out and all that.
If you're, if you're a fan of this series, and you know that there were 4 games, essentially 4 main games that took place during World War II. There's a nice little thing right in the middle of the game where part of the storyline is you're friends with this Russian defector guy supposedly, and you've gone on all these different missions around the world, during Vietnam time frame. And run into this guy, and he was a big, figure during the World War II stuff. And there's actually a flashback episode where you go back and you fight with all the old weapons and you fight the Nazis, and it's kind of a fun thing, right? Yeah, and for some reason that screen you're looking at is in a different language, by the way.
Yeah, I think whoever made this YouTube video, which is I think Diablo X, is French.
Yeah, so normally what you would do you would just move up and down and choose a game type, but actually, if you look down, and
Kennedy. Wow.
Yeah, if you look down, you'll be able to free yourself from the.
He's going to do that in a moment, I think. Yeah. Otherwise,
seems to be taking his sweet time there. But
maybe he's talking. Let's see.
Regardez bien. On est donc en fait assis sur une chaise. On peut donc bouger le menu.
He's saying, "Look now. When you get out of the chair, you release your arms. Up we go. And now."
Mais le plus intéressant, c'est lorsque vous allez vous asseoir sur.
It's kind of fun in French. Oh, there it is. There it is. There's the. Le Central Intelligence Agency Data System. CD bin. Oh, you have to CD bin.
No, you don't have to.
Oh. DOA. Dead Ops Arcade.
Ceci n'est pas un montage.
Ce n'est pas un montage.
There were even a couple
I'm sorry,
of
now I'm speaking French. I should be speaking English.
There were a couple of achievements in this game as well. Just running the game is an achievement, and then there's an achievement related to using something in the game to kill a certain zombies.
That's so funny.
Yeah. It's actually a surprisingly decent-looking game, by the way.
This is the coin-op?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's a pretty good top-down. This is as good as the first 3 editions of Grand Theft Auto. And very satisfying blood. This looks like Diablo 2.
Yeah, there you go. It's like kind of a,
very satisfying smudges.
No, it's nice. It's nice.
Wow, and look at the drops. Wow. I would buy that game.
I know, it's not bad at all.
In fact, frankly, given what the difficulty of Black Ops, maybe this is the game I should play.
This is the game you should start on.
I should buy Black Ops and just play the.
Just play that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
All right.
Why not?
Let's talk about. Let's get some Windows stuff in here. IE9, yet another platform preview available.
Right. So Microsoft has now released 7 of these platform preview versions of Internet Explorer 9.
They must be getting close.
Yeah. Right. I would think so. In fact, I'm actually. The last 2 were sort of unexpected, right? Because they both come after the beta. So they're still improving the developer-oriented features, that are in the product. It's interesting. So one thing that they finally started saying explicitly, because I've been talking about this all the time, is, in the browser world, a lot of these other guys that make web browsers like to talk about their JavaScript performance, and they have certain tests around there, like SunSpider. There's obviously the Acid 3 test,
right? But of course, each browser manufacturer has their own. Like Acid 3 is that the Opera one, I think, and then I don't know who
they're not industry standard tests.
No, of course not. And the company that made it, of course, performs best on that test.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly, I believe that Acid is designed specifically to make Microsoft look bad.
Oh yeah, but didn't they say that Microsoft was cheating a little bit? Where it was actually writing code to one of the tests? I thought I saw that somewhere.
Yeah, of course. And, the person that said that was someone at Mozilla.
Oh.
And Mozilla's score on that same test is inflated, sort of
doing the same
in a
thing.
fake way because it's not the browser making the test. It's like it's a special pulled out version of the JavaScript engine, running through a console or something. It's crazy. But what they finally said, which I love, is this stuff is bogus. It's not real world performance. We think that we're going to have the best real world performance, but since we have to compete this way anyway, we might as well be the best. So they now have the fastest SunSpider speed, for example. They're never going to hit 100% on ACID because a lot of the stuff in ACID is stuff that's not actually part of any spec. And it's stuff that, in some cases, is absolutely definitely going to change. But I think they're somewhere at 97 out of 100 or somewhere around there. And that's where they're going to be. And that's not going to change. So they're never going to hit 100 on ACID.
So what you're saying is that ACID is an artificial test.
Absolutely. It's completely bogus.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so I have begged Microsoft again and again to come out and just say what I've just said, which is that this stuff is bogus, And they've always been a little political about it. But actually, concurrently with the release of this new platform preview, they basically came out and said, look, this stuff's bogus.
Right.
But since people seem to care about it, we'll do a good job on those things. So, I guess they have some crazy JavaScript performance now in this version of the in the browser.
Let's take a break here because I'm consumed by this coin op version of Modern Warfare or Black Ops. And no, actually, what I'd like to do is do a quick mention of Ford, and then we'll get on with some news about Office 365. I would love to get your opinion on the Facebook announcement this week. And I don't know last week, and I don't know, but apparently there's a Facebook MySpace announcement coming up this week. I wonder maybe what you think that might be. But all that's still to come. We're going to get there in just a second. Before we do that, though, I would like to talk a little bit about my favorite American auto manufacturer. I love them. I love Ford. It gives you great pride when you're driving a Ford around. And even just, more and more, I see more and more Mustangs, Fusions, Focuses, Fiestas on the road. Have you seen this new 2011 Fiesta? You can't miss it. It's designed from the ground up. I mean, this is a brand new vehicle that is just so sweet. They've done such a nice job with it. I'll give you just a kind of a rundown. First of all, and this is the ad point everybody's mentioning, 40 highway miles per gallon, according to the EPA, which is the most fuel-efficient compact car. Just the most fuel-efficient compact car. But it's also nimble. It's got a great engine, this 1.6-liter Duratec TI-VC TI4 engine. This is an engine that Ford has completely reinvented and very popular in a number of Ford vehicles. They also have something my Mustang has, which I kind of thought was silly until I couldn't live without it. The Easy Fuel fuel filler with its no cap. So just you press it, pops open, you put the thing in. There's no cap. It drove a jammer beat crazy. Couldn't figure out where the cap was. There's no cap. The 4-function, this is all standard. 4-inch multifunctional display with LCD screen. Heated leather trimmed seats, power shift, 6-speed automatic transmission. Oh, actually, the seats in the transmission, the power shift are optional features. And do get this sync. You might consider not getting the sync. Get the sync. That's the. When I get in the car, any other car now, I feel like how do I want my sync? True hands-free calling. You'll never miss a call, and you can get business done. In fact, this was something Scott Monty of Ford told me about. A service called Dial to Do, DIAL, the number 2DO.com. I call Dial to Do, and I can do calendars, to-dos, I can send emails, I can do all this stuff from the Ford Sync. It's but this is the beauty of it. The Ford Sync integrates with your cell phone to give you all sorts of great features. For instance, on the Windows Phone 7 and the Android phones, it'll read your text messages. 911 assist on all phones. That's really great. If the airbags deploy, it calls 911 and sends your GPS coordinates. Voice-activated music and podcast browsing. So you could say, you press the button on the steering wheel, you never, hands on the wheel, eye on the road, you never take your hands 10 and 2, and you press the button, it goes boom, you say, audio, boom, sync, boom, play Windows Weekly 182, boom. I hear Paul's voice filling the cabin with its deep, rich, chocolate-like tones.
Or as I call it, the last thing you'll ever hear.
Chocolate rain. He's a man named Paul Thurrott again. The 2011 Ford Fiesta. Boy, I hope I haven't turned you off by singing. Don't listen to me. Just go right now to your Ford dealer and test drive it. Drive one this week, the 2011 Ford Fiesta. Very affordable, very nice car. You will not feel like you're sacrificing in any way. Chocolate Rain. So, Office, I got to remember it. Now, it's 365 like every day of the year, not 360 like how many degrees in a circle. I keep calling it 360.
Yeah, and the running joke at Microsoft is that in leap years, you get that extra day for free.
366.
Yeah.
So how close are we? I'm very excited. I've been using Docs.com, and I love it. Is this the same as Docs.com?
Oh, no. No, this is a much bigger deal. So,
no, Leo. There's more.
This is it's a rebranding and consolidation, if you will, of Microsoft's many productivity-related online services. So it's hosted Exchange, hosted SharePoint, hosted Link, which is the new communication server that just came out, combined with Office web apps or a full version of Office Professional Plus on the desktop as a subscription service to businesses of all sizes, and literally from a business of one up to, the biggest enterprise on earth. So if you're familiar with the hosted stuff they have now, BPOS, hosted Exchange, oddly enough, that stuff is still on the previous generation version of the product, right? Exchange 2007, or in the case of SharePoint, SharePoint 2007. So Office 365 with this generation of the, consolidated service. Obviously, they're moving to the 2010 versions of all the servers. I'm not sure what the schedule is exactly. They're basically saying sometime in 2011. But what is going to happen soon is that they'll be opening it up as a public beta.
Will it be free? Do you think?
No, it's not free. So
okay.
This is, but what you would compare this to, I think, for a small business is
Google
Apps.
Yeah. Which is what, $50 a seat a year, something like that.
Yeah. So the Microsoft, I want to say, I think it's 60. I think it's $59.99 or 60. I think. Microsoft's offering, the equivalent offering is going to be about $72 a year per user is how that would work. And but you're running on Exchange, you're running on SharePoint, and you've got, the Office web apps in that case. Obviously, if you have Office, if you have it yourself, if you purchased it, you can use that. The interesting thing, though, is as you move up the chart a little bit, and they haven't really spelled out all the different versions very well, but there are versions of this where you actually get, like I said, Office, as part of the subscription price. And that's actually really interesting, and you literally pay a monthly subscription for this Office thing. If you drop out after 30 days, it will go into reduced functionality mode. And then, you could sign back on if you wanted to at that point or whatever. But I think what's interesting about it is that it puts that desktop software in the subscription realm, and it provides you with those free upgrades to the next version. So if Office 2012 or whatever comes out at some point and you've been subscribing all along, at that point you just get that, as part of the subscription.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. I'm going to be on the beta, and it's starting soon, so I'm not even sure how much I can say about this. I don't think any of this is under NDA, but it's all going to be happening soon. I mean, they did have a public sign up, or maybe still do have a public sign up for people that want to get on the beta. And I don't know, like I said, I don't have any idea what part of 2011 we're looking at for the final release, but I've always said, for individuals, obviously, Gmail, Google Calendar, this stuff is free. It's excellent. It's kind of the way to go. When you move down a notch, you look at something like Hotmail or, their calendar and their contacts management. It's good. It's not great, but it's good, and it's also free, obviously, ad supported and free. If you're going to pay a little bit for something, and I think that, $60 a year or $72 a year or whatever for this kind of thing is not horrible. Exchange is kind of where it's at for this stuff. I'm not personally a huge fan of the Outlook desktop program, but a lot of people are. And of course, you can use the Outlook web app, which is, the online version of Outlook as the client. So I think this is a really interesting alternative for people. And when you think about stuff like the Aurora server, that some of us a server that is really a stripped down server with file management and user management and all that stuff, you could do something like this in the cloud and have your email in the cloud. And I think it starts to make a lot of sense. So I think there are a lot of people who are home office, small business, and then all the way up, the chain, that this is going to be a really viable option, because honestly, as good as stuff like Exchanges or SharePoint, you don't want to implement that stuff yourself. Microsoft could implement it for you. They probably know something about it, and it's not unreasonably priced. So I'm eager to. I have not. I'm not on it yet. I will be on it soon. I did recently have a big, a meeting and a preview of it and all that stuff. So it looks awesome, and it's something that's going to be coming pretty soon. So something to think about. Certainly.
I can't wait. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah. Do you think it will replace Office? People will always want a disk-based Office, right?
Well, they've been testing the waters on this kind of thing for a long, long time. They've had subscription versions of Office in certain locales here and there, and
they always wanted to do that. I know.
Yeah, they've always wanted to do it.
More consistent revenue.
Yeah, we're not at the point. The problem is, you still have to download and install Office. Even with this thing, you're clicking a link and you're downloading it to your computer and you're installing it. I think the future of this is going to be something akin to a public version of what's possible in an enterprise now, where you can virtualize Office and you deploy it from a server and you actually see it in your start menu. And the first time you click on it, it starts to load enough so you can run the program. And then in the background, it's caching and loading the rest of it. And imagine that on the public system. We talked about on a public, personal individual's computer. We talked in the past about why are we not logging in with a Windows Live ID? If I was paying Microsoft some monthly subscription cost for whatever, if part of that was Office, it would be neat to open a brand new computer, log in using my Windows Live ID, have it push up my personalized desktop with all of my, documents and photos and whatever I care about in there, and all of the applications I'm already paying for in the start menu, and you run them, you click on them as you do normally, except they're kind of loading over the internet and then caching onto the computer the first time. I think this is the beginning of something like that. It's semi-obvious in a way, but I think it's important for people to understand that Microsoft actually does have the pieces in place to make this happen over time. And it's not like science fiction. It's, the stuff is all there. We're just not doing it.
It's exciting.
So, yeah, I think it's going to happen.
It's exciting. What did you think about the Facebook announcement?
The whole world was in an uproar over this before it happened, right? Facebook is going to come out with a Gmail killer. They're going to, come up with this new email thing. AOL sort of tried to pull the plug on the PR excitement by announcing their own refresh of their email service, right? Project Phoenix, which, by the way, looks pretty good as a web-based email app.
Oh, it's web-based. Oh, good. So I could try. Yeah. See, I don't have an AOL account, so I
don't know
who
the hell does.
Yeah, right, who the hell does? Exactly.
But interesting, right? I mean, it actually looks pretty good. When you actually, I watched the Facebook announcement, and I actually watched it and then rewatched it. I was kind of mesmerized by it. As an email system, it's not that impressive, right? I mean, it's fairly obvious.
Well, they don't even use the word email. They say messaging.
But it's not an email system. Well, email is part of it. So it's actually, what it really is just an update of their existing messaging system, right? And I think it was Mark Zuckerberg who said, is that the guy's name?
Mark Zuckerberg. Yeah, I believe he's the guy. Yeah.
He's the, I'm more of a Microsoft guy.
What is the name of the guy?
Yeah, who's that guy?
Who started the Facebook?
Yeah, that guy.
Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah, he said something where basically that was, I don't believe the future of this is email. I think that this is not the way we do things. He told a rather cloying story about how he talked to his sister's high school friend, which I found very unbelievable, actually. But
that is why I use Facebook.
Well, the whole time I was listening to it, I'm thinking, why is this creepy guy talking to high school girls? But no, but what he said, actually, he did say something that I thought was very relevant, which was that, and it's a weird thing to say when you think about how far removed we are from letter writing and the way we used to communicate in the past. But he said, email is too formal. It is in many ways like a letter. Dear Bob, you address it, and then you have a subject line. It's a formal thing, and it's not necessarily true for everything that we communicate, but it is true that a lot of what we communicate is a lot less formal than that. And that, my brother and I have a running commentary, for example, on text messaging, right? That has nothing to do with anything that's necessarily going on specifically, other than that every once in a while in the middle of it, it will be like, hey, are you coming on Thanksgiving? Or, there'll be some relevant, thing that could have been communicated as a random email. but is in fact part of this. It's not even a conversation. It's just an ongoing series of communications, you know? And what he's saying is that the future of communications is more like that than it is like email. And I have to say, that's going to disturb some people. It might even disturb me, but I think he has a point. I think it is more like that. There'll always be the need for formal communication, but it's going downhill, and it really is going downhill. It's been going downhill forever. I mean, the people who the letter writers of the 1800s would look at email today and think, oh, you got to be kidding me, you know? I don't know what they would think of this, like text messaging or whatever, or instant messaging.
Just ask a teacher. You'll hear what the 18th century folks would think.
And I'm sure there are people, and I know there are people who think that this form of communication where it's very abrupt, short messages where people are even changing the language to include a mixture of letters and numbers to, you know, whatever they're doing. And, you know,
speak.
Yes. Is killing the English language or whatever language you speak. So, and that's another discussion, but I may even agree with it, but I just think that this is where, you know, this kind of communication is going, written communication, if you will. This is where it's heading, you know. When Microsoft talks about things like unified communication, they literally mean the entire gamut of things.
Right. So they have the same vision. Yeah.
I think so. I think we're in the same, you know, vibe where email, I think, will be de-emphasized over time. They may have a point. And in that sense, if you think about it, this is a Gmail killer because Gmail is email. And Gmail has tried to bring other stuff into email, right? Which is, you know, there's an instant messaging add-in through Gtalk. They've integrated some kind of a phone sort of thing in there now. And they have the, you know, you can get voice messages over. It's
an all-in-one box, really, on my Gmail page.
But what's interesting, and Google's not integrated, though. No, but Google's not an old company, but they still approached the messaging, if you will, from the standpoint of email, and then they're tacking stuff onto it after the fact. That's a very Microsoftian approach. Mm-hmm. You know, the Facebook approach is even newer, and I think they're more in line with the way the future is going.
Well, they should be. I mean, the kids use it.
They should be, and maybe, and they are, and I think that's why this is relevant. That even myself, as an old guy now, is a little scared of this, maybe, and a little, you know, it's not my comfort level, you know, my comfort zone here. But I have to say, I think this is, I do. I watched that presentation. If you watched it live and you just left
we broadcast it live, yeah.
If you just left it on though after it was over, they just replayed it over and over again. It was actually on a loop. Right. And I think I watched it twice, and I left it on for much of the rest of the day.
Hoping to absorb it, eh?
Well, I was fascinated by it because as cloying as I found some of the stuff he said, it immediately struck true to me that what they were saying was right.
Right. You know, now, let's not forget that Google did try to reinvent email, and it was called Google Wave.
Yep.
And is already gone. Yeah, they got something wrong, but they were trying to address that notion.
No, it was too complicated.
Yeah.
That product was the anti-Google product.
Right.
Google is, I think, to web services what Unix is to OSs.
Let's not forget, by the way, where Lars Rasmussen, who invented Wave, went after he left Google to Facebook. Yeah. So.
Well, right, but everyone learns. Hopefully, well.
Oh, yeah. I don't think Lars is going to redo Wave.
The mistake of the mistakes of the past. And by the way, there are certain complexities to Facebook as well. Anyone who's tried to go in and
that's their problem.
Change their privacy.
That's their problem right now, and it's the opposite problem. But it's a problem. It's complexity. If you jam everything into one basket.
Yeah. So I'll say this: obviously we have these weird, you know, there are little services all over the world. You know, there's Twitter over here. You have instant messaging over here, email over here. Obviously, we have phones and smartphones and all this stuff. We communicate in different ways. Microsoft people will tell you, and by Microsoft people I mean customers, you know, users, business users especially. They live in Outlook, and they live in Outlook because it's their day, right? The email comes in, they respond to it. That's how they communicate a lot of the times with people. If you integrate with these other servers like Link, you can do the other, you know, presence and video conferencing and all that stuff. But their calendar is in there. Mm-hmm. If you've got Exchange on the back end, you could schedule a meeting and specify who you want to be in there and actually see their appointments listed in a master calendar so you can schedule the meeting where everyone could actually go. There's all this stuff. And Outlook is their day. And that's neat. But if you look at younger people, Facebook is to them what Outlook is to business people. right?
Right. They live
You could
there.
go in there and you could not only post about what you're doing, but see what's going on with everyone in the world you care about. You can chat instantly, share photos. Facebook is the Outlook of the me
Social
generation.
Outlook.
We're calling these. Yeah.
Non-business
It really
Outlook. Yeah. But this stuff is also very difficult and complex. And, Google's trying. It's interesting because Google's recently said, yeah, we're not going to do it with Facebook. We're just going to socialize all our services, add social to individual services. And in a way, that's less complex because you know how to use that one service, but it's less convenient. It's very tricky. Whoever solves this is going to win. Adding complexity without adding difficulty.
Yeah. I have to say, well, I've been saying, I think Facebook found the answer.
And they might have.
For messaging. And again, it's not the solution for everything. You will always have a need to have some kind of, email that is professional. You'll need email threading for certain discussions. That's always going to be true. But that's like saying, well, we'll always need a FedEx because sometimes I need to send a package.
Right.
Yeah, you always will, but you're not going to use it every single day or all the time. Right. And I think that the thing that's interesting about this messaging idea that they have is that it is something that people will be doing all the time. It's going to be the big deal.
Yeah. Joe Schmo in our chat room said it needs video. And
it will have video, but it's easy. It's simple.
And I tell you what, that's how the kids communicate. My son, that's how he talks with his friends, is video conferencing.
Yeah.
Easy to do, though. And they're all on Facebook. In fact, that's probably how they schedule the video conference. Hey, call me.
Right. Yeah, so I thought it was funny, they even explicitly mentioned, people said we were going to make a Gmail killer, and obviously that's not what this is. And it's like, you know what? Actually, that is what this is. It's a Facebook killer. That's exactly.
It's a successor, perhaps. That's an interesting point of view. I may be too old. It may be over for me.
Well, a successor. I mean, the telephone was the telegraph killer.
Yeah.
I'm sure there were still people using a telegraph for a long time after the phone came out, but the world moved on.
I love it. That's a great insight. Thank you, Paul.
Well, I don't know. I'm just, listen, when they first announced Google Buzz, I honestly thought Google was onto something because it was Google, and you're so used to them being right about everything and succeeding every single time. Google's had some big mistakes. We talked about Google TV, which is a product so bad I refuse to even review it. And Google Buzz, Google Wave. These are things that, yikes. This is not what people weren't looking for this.
Yikes. Let's take a break. Come back with more. Paul Thurrott is here. We're talking about Windows. And Windows and Microsoft. In fact, we're going to talk about Kinect in a little bit, and also the next Microsoft phone. It is your grandfather's Microsoft phone. Before we do that, though, let's talk.
Or your small child's.
Or your small child's. Let's talk about Squarespace.com. It is the secret behind exceptional websites. One of the real advances that I'm starting to see on the web. It used to be really hard to make a website, and there were a lot of things you had to figure out and do. I remember, when on the radio show, people say, I need a website. I'd say, well, first you got to register a domain, then you got to find a host, then you got to find software, then you got to do his content management. Squarespace just does it all and does it beautifully and does it elegantly. It's the secret behind exceptional websites because you can set up a website in minutes, even if you've got an existing website, because it'll import using the standard APIs for movable type, WordPress, TypePad, or Blogger, which means almost any system. Get all your data, not just your posts, but your images, your comments. You can manage it with your great iPhone app. By the way, not just posting, but also managing comments, killing spam, and getting stats. And boy, the stats package is amazing. Here's the deal. Squarespace is hosting plus the software, so it's all together. I like that a lot. That means you don't have to update the software or worry about security. It's always kept up to date for you. Really easy to create your first website with Squarespace, or to take an existing website over to Squarespace. Just go to squarespace.com/windows and then press the green button that says create a space. All you have to do is give them a site name, a password, an email address in case you forget the password, do the CAPTCHA, and that's it. You've got a site. And it could be just an experiment. I know Alex Lindsay does this all the time. He's telling me he did it in a restaurant the other day. So the guys didn't have a website. He said, well, let me show you what you could do. And, before he left, he had a website for them. And it's up to them now. They'll be there for 2 weeks. If they want to keep it, they can. $12 a month is the starting price. That's usually enough for anybody. And by the way, if you use the promo code Windows when you buy, you'll save 10% off that for the life of your site. Now, that's a good deal. If you want to get an idea of what you can do with Squarespace, I mean, the real answer is anything, but go take a look at the examples at squarespace.com/windows. A really broad variety. Here's a Montessori schools site, and it's interesting. Actually, this is a Montessori school applications. These are iPhone applications. Here's a wine cellar. A lot of wineries like Squarespace, I guess, because the sites can be so beautiful and gorgeous. You can a lot of photographers, very popular for photographers because it makes a portfolio incredibly easy, and built-in software to do that. It couldn't be simpler. It really is a great way to make a website. If you've been thinking, I need a website, or if you have a website or a bunch of websites and you want to make a new one, just kind of offhand, maybe you've got a school event coming up, everything should have a site. I can't believe there's still businesses that don't have a presence on the web. Well, look how easy this is and how affordable. Squarespace.com/Windows. The secret behind exceptional websites. The kin is back, baby. I can't believe this.
Not a moment too soon.
We've by public demand.
But remember, we talked.
I liked
when the kin was first announced.
You said exactly the right thing.
Yeah. This phone looks really. The phone's great. There were two phones. There are two phones.
Yeah. But too expensive. The data plan is too expensive.
Yeah, I said at the time that what's going to kill this is if they put a normal data plan on it.
Right, because the market for this phone is not.
Yeah, and I still have this conversation. I had a friend who came up to me recently and said, I want to get a phone. I don't really care about smartphones. I don't want to spend that much money on data, but it would be nice if I could get email occasionally. And, what am I, what are the options there? And I said, I don't know a lot about this market, but between a cell phone and a smartphone is something called a feature phone. And if you were to go into Best Buy and talk to the guys where you have a choice of different carriers and the different devices, I think what you'll find is phones that are actually, even have touch screens and app capabilities and whatever, but what you're looking for is a lower cost data plan. Because if you're going to spend $80 a month on a phone, I mean, you might as well just get an iPhone or a Android phone or Windows phone or whatever, one of the high-end smartphones. I mean, I was amused this week to see a story about how Amazon is selling the Samsung Focus for only $50, $150 off the regular price. That has nothing to do with the cost of that phone. Nothing. If you're going to spend $80 a month over 2 years for that thing.
They might as well give them away because they're going to get you.
Yes, you're saving a little money up front. That's not the cost of the phone at all. It's a small percentage. I mean, that's ridiculous. You want to save money on that monthly, this person specifically said, I don't want to text. I said, beautiful. Then you'll save money there, right there. There's some money. If you don't want texting, you can take it right off. So they brought the kin back, Verizon has apparently. And they're going to, I don't know if they're just selling through the stock they already have or how they're doing it, but what they've done is they've gotten it off the data plan thing. So they're going to use them as feature phones, essentially. So it will still have that data capability, but you'll have to go through Wi-Fi, which is exactly the right way to do it on these phones. It's it's nice. So actually, I don't know what the cost is going to be or what the plans are going to be, because obviously you still need a calling plan and you'll probably want a text plan. I mean, people love to text, and these are great phones for that. They have wonderful hardware keyboards. And that little one, the Kin 1, which is the one I had, is such an awesome form factor for kids. My son has what is essentially a feature phone on Verizon, for example. And I look at it and I think, this Kin phone would be so much better for this kid, but, they were just too expensive.
Well, now they're a penny. And so we don't know exactly what the
you'd have to go and we're going to have to wait for
data, though. I mean, but that's the beauty of the Kin. It's kind of intermediate between a dumb phone and the Windows Phone 7, and I think it's actually a good.
It had the stuff that it had on there. The social sharing stuff was fantastic,
and I think it's a good intermediate between the two, and it kind of completes the line. I was surprised they killed it, to be honest. I mean, obviously they killed it because nobody bought it.
No, I really was.
But But apparently they didn't kill it. They redid it.
Well, it's unclear. So, yeah, what if this thing does okay?
Do you think they're just selling off old stock? That this is just
that's what I'm wondering. Is that's maybe what it could be? I don't know. It seems like you've already paid. The development costs have occurred. So, remanufacturing the phones has a certain cost to it. It seems like they could make money on these things at this point. Verizon could, anyway. So I don't know. I'm not. It's interesting, and Kin. I feel bad about Kin because the criticism and the mocking has been merciless, but it's so undeserved. The mocking should have been on Verizon.
The pricing,
not on the phone.
Yeah, the data price.
Great. I don't think people understand it. It's like I get email all the time from people who finally saw like a Kindle in a store, or finally came across a Windows Phone in the store, and they're like, "Oh my God, this thing is awesome!" Right? And I think the Kin is one of those things. I think people would be surprised how nice these things are. Yeah. But they just get mocked, by people who've never even seen one.
Mercilessly.
Yeah.
Did we ever? I guess we talked about Kinect.
We did, but see, what I wanted to do is a little bit of a follow-up.
A week or two later. And, I have to admit, I played Dance Central, and I keep thinking, it's like getting a hot tub. I did the same thing with the hot tub. Took a lot of hot tubs at first, and now, I forget.
Two times a winter.
Yeah, right. It's a little cheaper than a hot tub.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
I have a hot tub in my yard, by the way, so I completely understand that reference.
We just put a hot tub in.
Oh, you did?
And, my wife's go, oh, it'll be great. We'll take a hot tub every night. It'll be wonderful.
Yeah, so the hot tub is going to be the gift that keeps on giving, because wait till you see your electric bill.
I know. Because we're heating it whether we're in it or not.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's funny, we only use it in the winter. It's awesome in the winter, especially here when it snows.
Right.
We don't use it in the summer, but a lot of the people who've done our home swaps here have used it a lot in the summer.
Oh, well, see, it's good for the home swap because it's
it's kind of it's interesting.
Now let me ask you though.
Okay.
Now that we're this week in hot tubs. TWiT. I was really disappointed. You can only go to 104 degrees. Is this a California thing? I called the guy.
No, that's the law. It's because
people die.
People die.
But I want a hot tub, not a lukewarm tub.
You got to keep it. I try to keep it below 100. Actually, I mean,
really? Oh, no wonder you don't use it.
Too much.
No, I want it 106.
No. You don't understand. When you go out, when it's 20 degrees outside.
Oh, it's contrast.
100 degrees is fantastic.
I live in California.
Yeah.
I need a little hotter hot tub. I called the guy, said, hey, if you could figure out how to hack that circuit board, I could get 10,000 a tub. He says, when we take out old tubs, we save the circuit boards. Those things are cold. Because everybody wants a hotter hot tub. And the nanny state.
You gotta be careful with that.
I don't care. Dr. Mom's saying it'll decrease your fertility. That's a good thing.
Perfect.
That's what I'm hoping for.
Could I sleep in this thing?
Boil those babies.
Yeah.
All right. So, okay. Anyway, changing the subject. Kinect. Here's where the link is. Kinect, same thing. Yes. You go, oh, this is going to be great. We're gonna dance every night.
I will remind you. I mean, my concern about this is this another Wii?
Right. And we don't know.
I think there's an indication. I think,
it might be like.
Yeah, in the sense that I think there's a lot of excitement about it right up front, and then we go, and it sits there for days.
It's better than the Wii. I got to say, it's better. It's much. That's
not the point of this conversation. It is absolutely better than the Wii, but I think there are things that can occur in the future that will make this more interesting. So as new game titles come out, we'll see. I think when people visit, it's a big deal.
Yeah, we'll have a Wii party. I mean, a Kinect party.
It's true of kids. If cousins come over for the first time since we've had it, or kids' friends, whatever, it's a big deal at that time. We had friends of ours over, and my friend's wife ran in and was playing Kinect Adventures with my daughter.
That's fun.
She was just excited to see it.
That's fun.
Yeah, but I think we'll see. I have in the notes. I know my wife got that EA Active 2, which is the sequel to the Wii title she was using to exercise.
Oh, what'd you think of that?
She vastly prefers it over
good.
The Ubisoft title she was using, which I can't remember the other workout. I can't remember the name of it, but and it comes with a heart rate monitor, which is not a huge deal. That's the expense of it, actually. But it uses those same resistance straps she was already using before. And to me, once you add in some weights or some resistance, that it becomes a real workout, not just a cardio kind of thing. So
I think they should ban that. You could have a heart attack.
Yeah, that's right. It is supposed to be active. That's the name. So that looks good. She actually prefers that to the other title. So I don't know. I just what I've noticed is the kids come home from school and they don't jump right on it. So that was true for a few days. They did that.
Right. And it's back to Modern Warfare 2 or Black Ops.
The kid's back in his little man cave down in the cellar playing Black Ops.
It's a boy cave.
It is a boy. Yes, it is. It's like a weird combination of dark and teddy bears and
right. You and I think we have the same setup because I have now hanging off the TV an Xbox with Kinect, brand new one because I bought the new Xbox, Apple TV, old one, and new one, a Logitech Review because I had to try Google TV. I'm about ready to take that out. And now the Boxy Box. And frankly, I ran out of HDMI ports.
HDMI switcher is what you need.
I have to get a switcher, yeah. But then the problem is I already can't remember which port things are on, so I'm going.
That's awful.
And then the switcher.
I don't want to label them because they're going to change. I'm not going to keep all this stuff.
Exactly.
I would say of the stuff I've gone through this year, and I've written about some of this. I've got more to go. The new Apple TV is good. It's not great.
It needs work. It's not done yet. It's only Netflix and Amazon and iTunes.
They've taken stuff away that I don't think I understood how important it was until it was gone. So, for example, when you have hard drive storage in a device like that, you could go to the iTunes store and purchase a TV series and watch it on your TV. What an idea. Now that they don't have that,
I agree.
You actually really can't do it because they only have a few companies interested in a streaming service.
Right.
So, for example, even though the iTunes store, I think I might have discussed this previously, but we watched this series, The Tutors, right, which is basically a costume drama / soap opera. But it's fantastic, and it's caused me to go back and look up the history of this stuff. I mean, I give them a lot of credit. It's a great show.
Well, I don't think Henry VIII ever looked as good as Jonathan Rhys-Davies, but it's still a good show.
No. It doesn't matter. It's
a great show. But see, here's the thing. Now, my Roku does it all, including Hulu Plus.
The Roku does, yes.
Yes, Hulu Plus just started, and I'm thrilled with it.
Yeah, right. So on the Apple TV, if you have the old one, now what we did was we had gone through Netflix and gotten the DVDs on Netflix. But for some reason, when we hit season 4, that first disc was on a very long wait and has never shown up. So weeks went by and weeks went by, and finally I said to Stephanie, I said, we're going to have to get this some other way because we're never going to, so much time's going to go by, we're going to forget what was happening. So I just, I buy it on iTunes. You can't do it from the Apple TV anymore.
Yep.
That is so dumb.
Yep.
Now, if you have the old Apple TV, you can do it on the old Apple TV because of storage. So I had to go to my computer, run iTunes, navigate to the store, start downloading the things because they can't stream. And the night that I decided that we were going to do this, we couldn't watch one of the shows because it takes so long to download the episodes. It was going to be 45 minutes before we could start watching the first one. So I said, screw it. We'll watch something else. We'll start this tomorrow. So that's a little black mark against that. But yeah, like you said, the Roku box is very interesting. I suppose, I don't know, I didn't look, but Amazon might offer that on their store.
I bet it does. And then you buy it, and it's in your Amazon account forever. It's not a rental. You watch it when you want to watch it.
Yeah, and that's interesting. And Netflix does not offer, for the record, if you have the streaming Netflix service,
Netflix. No.
The first 2 seasons are.
Right, but then you can't.
3 and 4 aren't, which is like, okay, whatever. This is all the stuff you have to navigate with this. When you start talking about this new technology in the living room stuff, I mean, there's a lot of weird.
Well, that's why I have 8 things hanging off my TV.
I know, because there's no one thing.
And then, of course, my poor family has no idea.
Which one is it? To my wife, I just want to watch the damn show. She already knows. I can tell when my wife has given up on me. It happens very quickly. This is how it happens. We'll be sitting on the couch. It's 9 o'clock at night or whatever. We're going to watch some show. The Tutors. Okay. How are we going to do that? Well, let's see. So you start doing the thing with the HDMI switcher, and you turn on one device, and you look, and you're like, no, it doesn't. And 30 seconds into this, the light goes on in the corner. Yep. My wife pulls out a book, and she just starts reading.
You know it's bad when my wife says, Okay, I think I'll fold laundry now.
Yeah, she just gives up.
Like,
My wife does. She doesn't even say anything. She just gives up.
Oh, it happened to me last night. Took me like half an hour to find Glee.
Right. I know.
Purchased it. It's on. I mean, it's on also. So, but I wanted to watch it on Hulu Plus because I don't know when they enabled this on the Roku, but I've been a Hulu Plus member for a while.
Yep.
And now it's on the Roku, and you know, it looks. I was surprised. It looks pretty good. The UI leaves a lot to be desired. Have you played with it on the
Hulu
Roku?
Plus? No, I have not, and I will do because I do have Hulu Plus.
Not easy to navigate.
I like the Roku box a lot, actually.
I think it's got everything I want. What's missing on it? iTunes. But otherwise,
it's not. Right. So the Boxy box is interesting. This is one I will review. It's not quite there, but and you know, I'm still not quite sure how they organize content. You know, there's this weird list of stuff that's available. I want to see the list of available TV shows. And there's a list, and it's not even, sometimes it's not alphabetical, and sometimes I don't know where these shows are coming from. And then the experience differs from, you know, show to show because they're pulling this stuff from the web. And I think the nice thing that they do is, let's say there's a show that was, I'll have to make this up because I don't really know, but, well, actually, I'll give you one I do know. So the Louis C.K. is a comedian who had a show that might have been on AMC or one of those channels.
Very briefly, yeah.
Yep. I watched the first 3 or 4 episodes, somehow managed to do that, and I don't know why it disappeared. The first season occurred, and there were actually 12, 15 shows, whatever it is. I saw it on the box. So I thought, well, this is neat. I'll watch it. And the way it comes up is you can actually see part of the web player. It must do the video version of screen scraping. So it's behind the scenes, it's navigating to the website with a web browser. It's kind of zooming in so you can see the video part, but not the controls. But for whatever reason, on this particular player, on the screen, you can actually see the video controls that you would see on the web.
Oh.
Now, that's a little off, but yet, you know, I like the fact that it's there at all. Now, because it's on the website for the whatever channel that show was on, there are actually some ads in the show, too, right? Like you would see on the web. That's okay. So that's interesting, but it's not seamless. You know, it's not like the Apple experience. You can understand why Apple would never do this. But I would say it is way better than what Google TV is. And arguably is what Google was intending for Google TV to be, and maybe someday will be, minus the network TV aspect of it.
Well, and I think the network's blocking Boxy too, right?
Oh, probably.
Yeah, Hulu is, I know.
So I have to say the presentation's nice. You know, it's a computer device, right? So the first thing you do is you update the software. It's just like anything else. I mean, you know, but the remote is nice. I like the remote. It lets you type stuff in, which I think is neat. Which you need, unfortunately, because, you know, you're going to be logging into websites here and there. That has to happen, you know, unfortunately. It's not, you know, it's not perfect, but this one's interesting. It's in the running, I would say. You know, it's one of those, it's there. You know, I can see what they're trying to do. Google TV was like a car crash. You couldn't tell what you were looking at, you know. At least with Boxy Box, you're like, okay, yes, some effort has been made, you know, to make a cohesive user interface that grabs content from all over the place. You can plug in a drive, and you can log on to your local network shares, which I did, and browse your own stuff as well. So that's another way to get content. In my case, it's on a Windows home server. Get it out to the den. Neat. In a box that's, you know, basically silent and is very small and not that expensive. You know, it's about $150. So
200.
Is it 200?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm sorry. So
because Roku's 100, Boxy's 200, Google's 300. It's like boom, 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 and the crappiest one is the most expensive. At least Apple TV is very straightforward, simple, small, easy to use.
Well, by the way, Apple TV is the
elegant.
poster child for it's Apple. It's
elegant.
If you can do it, it's elegant and beautiful. If you can't, you just can't do it.
Right.
You know, if the functionality is not there, stop looking. There's no secret way to do it. It's just not going to work. You know, yeah. So the Boxy Box is not an Apple product. You know, there's no doubt about it. But there's a lot there. You know, there is a lot there, and I do like the notion of bringing content that I don't think not anyone could ever know that this stuff is all over the place. I mean, they have brought it together into a single place. It's pretty good.
Well, At this point, I don't think there's a clear winner. I mean, Xbox 360,
there's
let's not ignore how good that is. That's a great choice, too.
And how good it could be, because
it's a computer.
Yeah, they have this interface. It's so beautiful, and it lends itself to other services, that maybe that could happen. The Xbox is so close. They have the Zune Pass stuff now, which is fantastic, but they have no notion of cloud-based playlists. You can't create a playlist on your home computer and have it appear up in the Xbox 360, which is dumb. And you have to think that's coming, but you can't sell something on a possible future. It has to be there now. So even the Xbox 360, as good as it is incomplete. The Apple TV is obviously a work in progress. Maybe we're going to get apps later. Maybe other TV networks will sign on. We'll see. Roku is nice for what it does, but again, Roku is primarily Netflix, Amazon, MediaFly, or whatever they use there. Our stuff's on there. Major League Baseball's on there. Amazon's on there. That's good. That's
the one I go to most often. I think
it has a nice interface.
Yep. PS3 is coming on too. I mean, everybody wants to play here.
Right. So PS3 is also one I'm going to be looking at soon as a media hub. Netflix, for those people that need this kind of thing, is adding subtitling to some of their streaming services.
That's good news for you. That's great.
Yeah. Now, it's hundreds of movies so far, but Angels and Demons is on there. Some of the bigger names are in there, but it doesn't work with all the devices. So, for example, right now I believe it's PS3 works, and I forget the web client. For the PC and the Mac works, but not the Roku and not the Xbox 360, which are the two of the three Netflix boxes I have out in the living room. So we'll get there. But again, it's this is like early days. It's so weird. I mean, everything is in this half, completed state. It's really hard to recommend anything that's, you almost have to do a flow chart. Does this matter to you? Yes or no? Yes, then you can move on to the next step. I mean, it's hard to come out with some concrete, very simple bit of advice,
We got about 15 minutes left, so let's see here. Real quickly, Hulu Plus is official now. What, $8? I thought it was going to be $10 a month, so they did cut the price a little bit.
Yeah, they cut the price a bit, but still, there are ads.
It's annoying, and there's no fewer ads than there are on the free Hulu.
And I don't understand that. They got a problem because it is not clear what you get for the $8 a month. There's additional content, but you're right, it's not.
But it's not clear.
So you might have a show where on the free version there are 3 episodes.
Right.
On the Plus version there are 8 or something.
I can't find the Daily Show. I thought the Daily Show was on this thing. Where'd it go? Did they take it off?
You can watch the Daily Show through the Boxy box, but of course what they're doing is scraping it off of Comedy Central.
Yeah.
So you're getting, there are ads there, of course, because it's whatever they throw up there. And the quality is, YouTube-tastic. It's standard definition.
Right. This is one thing I was pleased with the Roku. I don't know what they're doing, but the Hulu Plus content on the Roku looks great, nice. Even on a 60-inch screen. It's funny because sometimes they'll have SD ads and it looks terrible.
You can tell the difference. Yeah,
it's like, oh my god.
Hulu Plus on the web also has a lot of subtitling, which is fantastic. And I don't know if they do that on the devices or not. I hope they do. But Hulu Plus is notable, or Hulu, I should say, is notable because a lot of their content is subtitled, and that's very rare still on the webs, and it's nice to see.
Well, I'm really puzzled because I'm looking at Hulu.com and the Daily Show is there, but I could not find it on the one I pay for.
Yeah. They probably block it through the box or something, Yeah, welcome to the wonderful world of content protection.
I mean, I don't think this is ever going to become popular with real people until they solve this, It's crazy.
And that's the thing. You can't recommend it to anyone normal. You have to be a real early adopter type and be okay with living with these constant weird problems.
Right. On Live launched, $99 for the hardware. Is there still for a while you could do it for free, not anymore, I guess.
Well, here's how it works. So the service is free. You can play through your Mac or PC. So if you want to check it out, sign on to the service. It's free. You can do these. You can play trial games for free. So see what it's like. See if with your internet connection, whether the game has enough or not, or has too little or little enough latency or whatever it is, so that you can play properly, streaming a game essentially. My experiences with the game service over the web were not great, frankly. And I don't see where the hardware device is going to change that too much. I mean, your PC is going to be more powerful than the box.
Yeah, it's the bandwidth, not the hardware.
Yeah, but if you like it, the way it works is you can rent these games for 3-5 days at a time, depending on the game, or you buy what's called a full play pass, and then you own it, and you can stream it at any time and play it whenever you want. And they have a lot of the tier 1 titles, Assassin's Creed and Batman, Arkham Asylum, and all that stuff. It's all up there. So it's actually they've done a decent job with the the actual content. The question is whether this is always the question with the service. You're not installing the game locally, so how does that work? And I think that if you're interested in this kind of thing, just try it on your PC first, and see how it works for you. My experience hasn't been great.
Yeah.
So
well.
Yeah.
It's funny. We're so mature. Well, we're not mature, but we're so mature in so many areas of technology. We're like desktop computing. It's mature. It's all been worked out, and we are so immature in other areas of computing.
Yeah, you were sitting here for half an hour trying to download a game to your iPad.
I'm still downloading.
Yeah, it's humongous, but still.
And by the way, let me just show you, because I could find the Daily Show on the web, on the iPad, Hulu Plus. No Daily Show. I got the Bob Newhart Show every time I search for Daily Show. I get Bob Newhart.
Was that the name of his show or something on the show, or what?
No, I get a ton of them. I get all this stuff that has the word "show" in it. Oh, that's going to narrow it down.
I don't like those kind of search results.
I put Daily in there for a reason, dudes. And what is this thing called the Attack of the Show? That just looks like crap. Anyway, moving on.
Just a little.
What kind of name is that anyway? Let's do our Audible pick, and then we'll get your tips and software picks and so forth.
Okay. I got to go bring this one up now. It's been so long. This one's been in the Word doc so long it's gathering dust.
We love Audible.com. I mean, golly, I'm still listening to the Dark Tower series, and I'm loving it now. I'm really getting into it, and I've got the Keith Richards book all queued up for when I have a long flight to Paris.
So I have this list of books that would be awesome.
Long list. Yeah.
The George W. Bush book, which is read by George W. Bush.
I can't believe he reads it. I guess he had some spare time.
Yeah, apparently. Probably did it while he was in office. No, but anyway, the point is Stephen King, new book. It's great. It's a horror book. It's 3 novellas and a short story. Kind of classic Stephen King. If you're not into the hardcore horror thing, though, that one's not for you. But the one I have recommended for this week is from Adam Carolla, who of course is the comedian.
He's got a book.
Radio host. Yeah, it's called "In 50 Years We'll All Be Chicks" and Other Complaints from an Angry Middle-Aged White Guy. And this is a guy. I probably wrote this in my. Let me see what I wrote. Yeah, because this is the way I feel about him. I think about this every time I think about Adam Carolla, which is I don't understand why I like this guy. I feel like I should just hate this guy, but I really find him funny.
He speaks for us all.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, I guess he does. Anyway, this book is actually this book is really funny. So
and he reads it.
And he reads it.
Just came out. In 50 years, we'll all be chicks. That's a good pick. I didn't even know he had a book. His podcast is huge.
Yeah,
he has.
Yeah, he does the radio show, and he's a big person now.
He's found a real success in podcasting where so few have. Well, this is just one of many, many great books on Audible.com. Yesterday, we talked to Kevin Kelly about his new book, What Technology Wants. Of course, it was on Audible. It really is where I go first if I want to read a book like the Keith Richards book, because I have so much more time to read in the car, at the gym, all that stuff that I have to do, but I don't have, I can't hold a book. It's perfect for. Yep. And I'm just basically plugged into a book almost all of the, spare cycles I have. Even now, I used to read in bed. Now I listen in bed. I don't know why. I'm hooked on listening to books. You can get hooked too for free. Go to audible.com/windows. You'll be signing up for the Gold account. That's a book a month. First month free, first book free, yours to keep forever. You can cancel at any time. You don't have to pay a penny. They've got the new Metatropolis Cascadia just came out. I don't know if you listened to Metatropolis last year. This one's all narrated by Next Generation cast members, which is really fun.
Wow.
Yeah.
Speaking of people who have time on their hands.
Brent Spiner and LeVar Burton, Daniel Frakes. Is it Frakes or Fracas?
I hope it's Fracas.
I don't know what his name is. And who else is on there? Oh, Will Wheaton. So it's kind of fun.
Will Wheaton?
Will Wheaton. Remember him? Wesley
I
Crusher?
do. I'm trying to remember. Maybe someone will remember this, but I just read a review of something where they described it as the Will Wheaton of this thing. And I have no idea what that means.
It doesn't matter. It works.
You know, like when you say like it's the Cadillac of something, you
So
know,
Will
like, what is that?
Yeah.
Is that a dig? Is that a compliment? I don't
Well,
I actually
that's the
don't
beauty
know.
of it. Actually, I'm sorry. It's not Brent Spiner. It's Rene Auberjonois.
Same thing.
Yeah, same thing. Anyway, this is why I like Audible. Boy, the only trouble with Audible is one of the reasons we recommend books is there are 75,000 titles, and you could browse. It's like a great bookstore. You could browse forever. But I have the Platinum account, 2 books a month, and I just love it. I'm waiting the 22nd, 4 days from now is my renewal date, and I've already got on my wish list.
There's a new James Patterson book out.
I
Like I said,
know.
Stephen King's got a new book, which is great.
It's
All kinds
incredible.
of stuff in there. That's Keith Richards' one is an awesome
I can't
choice.
wait to listen to that Keith Richards book. 23 hours and 8 minutes of, and then Mick decided to really screw things up.
Well, no, but that one's amazing because you have a preconceived notion of what that book's going to be.
Yeah.
And then it ends up being way better than you think it's going to be.
I love it also that Johnny Depp is narrating.
Well, of course.
Isn't that perfect? It's just perfect. Audible.com/Windows. Get your free book right now. We love Audible. We know you will. Plays back on the Zune. Not yet on Windows Phone, but any minute now. All the Android devices, all the iPhone and Apple devices. Audible.com/Windows. We thank them so much for their support of Windows Weekly. All right, Paul. Time for your tip of the week.
Okay, see if we can burn through these.
Yeah, we got
I actually
3
saw
minutes
this.
left.
I saw this in the New York Times today, and I thought, this is actually a decent thing to recommend to people. We might have talked about this sometime in the distant past, but I just wanted to remind people because everyone is pretty much using Windows on LCD type screens now.
Oh, yeah.
Windows 7 has a clear type text tuner
It
built
does?
into it that you
Does it
really
need
should
it?
use. I think that you should use it to optimize the screen for your eyes, and I think it's important. All you have to do is type in clear as start menu search. The first thing that comes up is adjust clear type text. Run through the wizard. Take the 2 seconds.
Boy, this was a tip in Windows XP.
Sure, but now it's built in. So
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, you used to go to a website. Remember that?
yeah. No, it's just built into the OS, and it's just something you need to do it on every computer because every screen has different properties and works in different ways, and it's just something you should do.
Yep.
Make sure the text is as crisp and clear as you want it to be. So,
It's the Will Wheaton of
it's a Cadillac of cars, Leo.
and now the Dirk Pitt of software.
Yeah. So the software pick of the week is Microsoft Security Essentials beta refresh. So it's not a brand new version of it's not like beta 2 or whatever, but the second version of Microsoft Security Essentials has been in beta now for several months, I believe. And Microsoft has come out with a refresh of the existing beta. And it adds a couple of things. But the funny thing about this is actually the biggest feature in it, if you will, is it actually takes something away, which was an integration with the way that it worked with Internet Explorer in particular and how it prevented web threats. I guess it was taking up too much performance from the PC, and they're going to rework that for the future. But if you're on, I recommend and use Security Essentials, the existing shipping version. The second one, and I think for people who are listening to the podcast who are a little more technically inclined, would be probably the one to go with because it has additional functionality and so forth. But it's just like the first one in the sense that it kind of runs in the background and you don't really pay a lot of attention to it. But if you are running the beta, especially, make sure you upgrade to the beta.
You always should keep those betas up to date.
Yeah.
Now, I'm glad to hear you're giving away a copy of your book because I really want a copy.
Yeah, I'll send you a copy.
Oh, I'm a wiener.
I won't make you. I put 5 aside for myself. I can give away.
I get a free copy. I keep holding this up, Windows Vista Secrets.
Yeah,
and Paul is the author of Windows Vista Secrets.
Thank you for embarrassing me. I'll send you a copy. I can't send you a copy.
No, don't worry about it. Don't worry. I will buy a copy. I like to support you. I will buy a copy.
Appreciate that.
But you don't have to buy a copy because Paul.
Here's what's happening. So I got a stack of these books from the publishing company. I'm going to ask for more, but
I loved your. I don't know if that was a tweet or what, but I saw the stack of books. It was pretty fun.
Yeah.
Facebook maybe.
Facebook probably. Yeah. So the way I'm going to, there's different ways to do it. Obviously I do the podcast, I have my website, whatever. But I thought I have got this Windows Phone Secrets blog where I've been talking about the book since before it was a book, and I thought it'd be nice to reward people from the blog in a way. So What I have is a system set up where if you can provide me with a tip, ideally one that's not in the book, although I realize the disconnect there because you'd have to have the book to know that. But I'll give you a copy of the book, if it's something new or unique or something that's really special. And I'm doing one a day.
That's a great idea.
So every day on WindowsPhoneSecrets.com, I have a new tip, related to Windows Phone. And we've done 3 of them so far, but they're all like kind of awesome because they're, people, again, the way the world works is I can sit there with a phone and write about it. But when the phone gets out to millions of people or lots of people, they look at things in a different way and they discover things and they do things I wouldn't do or whatever it is. And, people come up with stuff that's like, oh, neat, And the very first tip that I published was one where I was like, how could I have missed that? But it turns out it's not on the prototype device. It was something they added in the final version of the software. So at least I didn't miss it. So anyway, I just wanted to let people know about that. As far as the software pick of the week and the feature of the week for Windows Phone, the feature of the week is the phone application. And I won't beat that to death here.
But no, you make a very good point. It's a good phone.
It's a good phone. Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest single criticism of the iPhone, aside from the recent hardware stuff on the iPhone 4, is that, it's not a great phone. And it's there's some kind of, there's been a lot of blaming of AT&T for that stuff. But what I've discovered with Windows Phone is that it's not necessarily AT&T's fault. I have done things with this phone that are impossible on the iPhone. One thing I've done a lot is, you take the Orange Line into Boston, and iPhone is the only thing that can't connect to anything when you're on the phone. Everyone else is tapped away on their phones. Take it with Windows Phone, no problem. It works fine. I don't drop calls in the thing. My brother, who's not even a particularly technology savvy person, we joke a lot on the phone. So we'll say things that are kind of like showstoppers where the other person just gets silent and, on purpose for effect. And then when I did that last time, he said, "Are you there? Are you using an iPhone?" And it's just become a joke. So Windows Phone has a great phone app. So I'll write up some stuff about that going forward.
Cool.
And then the software pick of the week is actually the only game I ever finished on the iPhone, which was Need for Speed Underground. And if you're familiar with the racing games that are available on the iPhone or other portable devices, this is my favorite one. It's also the more superior of the 2 Need for Speed games that are available on the iPhone. And this is a nice way to compare the systems, too, because this is a game, like I said, I'm really familiar with. So I can tell if the experience is any different, if the performance is any different and all that stuff. And what I found is that actually this game is it's virtually identical. It's perfect. I mean, it runs as fast as you would want it to run, as fast as it should run and all that stuff. So yet another indication that Windows Phone is a great games platform, but more important, it's just a great game. And my goal with this software pick of the week is that, 6 months from now or a year from now, whatever, we can look back at this list of software and say, yeah, these are the apps you should have in your phone. Maybe not all at the same time, but and this is one of those. It's just a great game, and it's something that works well within the confines of a device that doesn't have little hand controllers and stuff. You have to tilt it and all that, and it works really well. And the controls are responsive, and it's a fun game. So definitely one you should consider.
My friend, our time has come to say goodbye to all the family. Somebody in the chat room told me, actually, you got it reversed. It's Will Wheaton is the Jar Jar Binks of the Star Trek universe.
Okay. I was hoping it was a dig. Because what I was thinking was, if there's some version of this universe where Will Wheaton is held in some kind of high regard, I am A, both hopelessly clueless, and B, not necessarily wanting to be in such a place.
I guess I can write off getting Will on the show anytime. No, I like Will. He's a nice guy. And the nice thing about Will, he's a geek. It's not really Will we don't like. It's Wesley Crusher. And I think that even Will probably is not real fond of Crusher at this point.
Well, except that Will wouldn't exist if it wasn't for Wesley Crusher.
Will would exist. We may not know he exists.
Well, that's what I mean.
He would exist.
Well,
He's not going to blink out of it. It's not Back to the Future 3. He's not going to blink out of existence.
Yes, okay. I agree with that.
Admiral Janeway did not create him. All right. No, I'm going to dub this the Will Wheaton of podcasts, and you be the judge. Whatever you decide that means.
There you go. Okay, that's fair.
But Will is great. I love Will. So it could be good. What we don't want to say is the Wesley Crusher of podcasts. Now that.
Oh, no.
That would not.
Although we did have the Wesley Crusher of pre-shows today.
We did.
It was the great jump the shark moment. I think I used my iPad today more than I have in 6 months.
We were downloading, for those who missed this, we were downloading stuff on our iPad. And I'm still, by the way, and I don't know how long this show's gone on, but
I could erase this and re-download it again before you're going to be done with that.
You got more bandwidth than me. We're downloading the new id game Rage, but it's 783 megabytes. I mean, it's ginormous.
It is big, yeah.
Yeah. The problem is not really, it's that everybody in the cottage is now downloading this. There's 5 people in here, all on the same connection, downloading.
Right. Well, I probably will read The Walking Dead on the iPad. So
there you go.
I got that going for me.
No, we already used that one. Hey, dude, it's good to talk to you. As always, next week, another Windows Weekly.
Tuesday, by the way, next week.
We are, thank you for reminding me, we're shifting the time a little bit because, as you may know, that next week has this Thanksgiving thing.
I was willing, by the way, to rise from the table.
Really?
After the homily or whatever occurs and do the podcast on Thursday, but
praise Bill, from whom all blessings flow.
Oh, hold on, that's Leo. I gotta go.
And the Balmer here below. No, I wouldn't do that to you. We'll take Thanksgiving off, but we will do a show, and we'll do it Tuesday. Do you know what time?
I believe it is
like
at
9 in the morning, I think.
Noon my time, yeah, so probably 3.
9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern.
Yeah. I assume you'll be wearing your bed clothes or whatever.
I'll be in jammies. My hair will be sticking up. 9 in the morning. But do tune in next. But normally we do it every Thursday at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern, 1900 UTC live.twit.tv. You can watch that. And, of course, you can download the show, twit.tv/WW. We make versions available in all formats.
But, by the way,
video. Yes?
I just want to point out the lower third, as you call it,
yes.
Is that the right term?
Yes.
Has already changed to include the title of the episode.
Yes. I don't know how that happens.
It's like you say something and it actually the form appears in front of you.
Watch this. I want to encourage you all to go to twit.tv/bestof to vote on the best moments from Windows Weekly of the past year. We're going to do so that Paul and I don't have to work the week after Christmas. So we're going to give ourselves a little time off. But we thought we don't want you not to have a show.
What is this?
You didn't know this?
So, no, but I'm sorry. Twit.tv/bestof. And then are there moments to choose from? Or are you actually requiring these people to do research?
Yeah, I'm actually asking them what they remember. I figure if they don't remember it,
screw them.
Well, I mean, it can't be the best moment.
I don't want to put words in your mouth, but
that's a word that lives on my tongue all the time. It just rolls off trippingly. So twit.tv/bestof, and we're going to do I almost said reruns. No. Encore presentations of Twit, MacBreak Weekly, This Week in Google, Windows Weekly, and Tech News Today. So we'd love to hear what you thought.
We should just record an episode where it's you and I watching the best of moments and saying, "Oh yeah, I love that."
No,
part.
we're going to do that.
That would be all it was.
It'll be like the the Bing Crosby Christmas special or whatever. I'm gonna put on a smoking jacket and a pipe. We're gonna sit in front of the fireplace, and I'm gonna say, "This has been a great year for Paul and me and Windows Weekly. There have been some wonderful moments." And I'm going to do that for all the shows.
Would there be fake snow falling?
Oh, that's a great idea. Yeah.
Like as we're on some kind of a set.
I got a cheese grater and some Parmesan. We'll just have
perfect
right over my head.
Just catch it as it falls. Stop eating the snow, Leo.
Tasty. No. What else did I want to mention? I think that's the most important thing. It's twit.tv/bestof. My friend, we will see you next week on Tuesday. Have a great week.
Thank you, sir. You too.
And we'll see you all later on Windows Weekly.